is up, everyone? Sorry we're late. It is January 13th. This is the second Run Pure Sports College Soup Show of the year. We got Kurt in town in Chicago with us. That's going to be an issue. Kurt is on my couch right now. We're trying to figure out the audio issue, but we're good to go. We got 12 games here. We got a bunch of good games today, all day today. Wild card Saturday in the NFL. We're going to be at the DraftKings Sportsbook in Chicago watching the games. If you're here in Chicago and want to come join us, we'll be upstairs at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So join us there. I think we should just dive in since we ended up starting late. We got Tennessee at Georgia. Kurt, why is this on the slate? Tennessee is just going to house Georgia here, I think. Only laying 7. That's a bit interesting to me. Sportsbook has it Tennessee -7, total 145. Probably not touching any Georgia here in DFS. We've got a couple plays on Tennessee, though. We had Dalton Knecht on, I think it was Tuesday's slate at 5,300. It kind of took some projection to get him up to his normal minutes, Kurt, but like he played mid-30s. I think he's a borderline core play here at 6,300. We got Adu at 6K. I think he's a fun play for like the Q or a tournament, something like that. And then JJJ is also kind of priced down. Like we have the whole Tennessee team priced down in a good spot against Georgia. What do you think here?
How we sounding? You sound good? Okay. Oh, okay. So Dalton Connect is way too cheap. The ankle was bothering him before. I think he's fully healthy. It's nice to see him and ZZ both fully healthy. So I think you just have to kind of probably play him or Adu in that 6K range because one of the Tennessee guys are going to get there. I prefer Dalton, but I don't mind jamming in both. Kind of like the Texas A&M. I don't mind playing two of those guys later as well. But I'm not finding myself getting up to ZZ, and he's looked so good that I hope he doesn't burn me, and I wouldn't fault anyone for it. But like it's just that it's a loaded range up there. So if I'm already getting exposure for cheaper, then I think they can almost match him. Why would I? So that's my take. And then we're obviously not playing in Georgia.
Yeah, I think these Tennessee prices are just too good to ignore here. Probably playing at least one. Adu at 6K. He's coming off a foul game, I think. Really like him here. Seton Hall at Butler. Butler -4.5, man. I kind of want to bet Seton Hall. Just been kind of riding them for most of the season behind Kadari, just being an absolute wagon. That total is 142.5, decent total here. I worry a bit on the road. He's up over 9K now. You know, we're not getting 8K Kadari here, but we have him projected for almost 40. I mean, if he doesn't foul, he's going to get you, 35 to 50? Super high ceiling. 9,300 is tough on the road, though. Contrarian spend for me. Kind of tough for me to get to anyone else besides him on Seton Hall. Butler, at least they price these guys down, right? Like we saw Posh, Telford, Brooks all in the 7Ks like a week or two ago. Even DJ Davis has been playing really, really well in conference play. I'm fine with basically all 4 of those guys at these price tags, Kurt. I think they're more of like fillers or like MME type plays. I'm not sure if I'm going to go out of my way to play a Butler guy, but I think they're like fun in the qualifier or the big tournament in the 6K range here. My favorite's probably Posh and DJ Davis. Do you have any takes there?
I mean, I kind of see the same thing in the playbook. Like, there's a lot of filler guys that are like, they're really good filler options. It's just, there's so many good plays today that you're not really like prioritizing these guys. But I think that's a great example. I like Telfort. I'm feeling Telfort today. I honestly don't mind in the queue or something like large field stuff. I think Bediako is decently cheap. He played good against Baylor, so wouldn't be surprising if he had a pop game, like a double-double or something like that. But mostly here, it's just you kind of play Kadar. And if I'm playing Kadar, then I'm definitely running back with Baylor. That would be my rule. If I'm playing Kadar, I'm running back with Baylor and hoping the game kind of shoots out.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's move on. Northwestern at Wisconsin. Kind of a gross game here. We got a 134 total, Kurt. Wisconsin laying 7.5. I kind of like them to cover that. Like I've liked Northwestern in certain spots, but definitely at home. Wisconsin's played really well at home themselves. Northwestern on the road, I think this could kind of get away from them. I listed Bowie, Barnheiser, and Martinelli in the playbook. I thought that your note was really, really good. Probably listed too many of them. I just usually just always list Bowie and Barnheiser just because they can pop off at any time. But not going out of my way to play Northwestern guys at Wisconsin. Tyler Wall and Stephen Corral have been great the last couple weeks. The big change for Wisconsin is Wall is playing full minutes now. Kurt, we saw him playing like 24, 25 minutes off non-con, but he's playing 30-ish in conference play. That's a huge difference for a guy like him with good rates. I'm probably Wall over Corral, and then AJ Store for tournaments. Any thoughts here?
I felt the same. I'm not going to be playing. I'm not going to be playing on this on. But if I had to pick one, maybe you're like Barrick and you're a Wisconsin fan. I'd rather play Wall because Northwestern kind of packs that paint really tight, and Wall can kind of step out and shoot some threes and shit like that. But the thing is, you kind of have to respect Northwestern because those two freaking dildos will go for 40 plus sometimes. But you're not going to play them. You're just going to pray that the guy who does it has the nut lineup around it.
Yeah, I mean, so far I think our only core-ish play is a Connect or Adu out of the first 3 games. Let's go to NC State Louisville. Another game that doesn't really need to be on the slate, but DraftKings just wants to have 12-game Saturday slates because they hate us. Will hate me and anyone that does projections or content for these slates. We got a 147 total here, though, Kurt. NC State's been kind of a hard nut to crack this year. The minutes have been pretty volatile, especially for the guys that we want, right? We want to play DJ Burns, but can you play a 22-minute DJ Burns? At least they dropped his price. He's at 6,100 here, and Louisville, we know, has a shit defense. I think Burns is a really fun play, in the qualifier or the big tournament, the flagship there. And then on Louisville, if we get Trey White out again, Curtis Williams has played really good minutes lately. And, we haven't really talked about it, but this slate is kind of starved for value. So why don't you touch on these two teams here?
Yeah, so I like you said, the Q play for either of the NC State guys, I think. And honestly, to go even farther, Jaden Taylor, the former Butler guy. I mean, we attack Louisville all the time. So, when people see your lineup and oh, okay, well, they played DJ Horn. That makes sense because Louisville sucks. So I don't mind taking a stab on either of these guys. If say you have a chalkier lineup and you're okay, I need to get different somewhere, I think playing one of these NC State guys is a good job of kind of attacking the hell out of a matchup. And then for Louisville, I really hope White's out again because I want to play my old namesake, not Curtis, but it's close enough. The shot rate is north of 20% the last 3 games. He's looked good. He's cheap. Like you said, we're sharp for value. So I like that. You can go a little 2-man stack. Maybe one of the NC State guys and then run it back with Curtis Williams if you start. He wasn't in the starting lineup. I accidentally left him in my lineups on Tuesday, and it worked out. But I'd really preferred him to start and not that random freaking Miller guy for no reason.
Yeah, I think that Hershey Miller was a 1-game experiment. I actually played him in one of my $30 qualifier lineups. He played 3 minutes. I think Curtis Williams is a good play if we get the news before lock. I think this is a noon Eastern lock as well, Kurt. So we'll get that news at lock. Let's go to Syracuse, Carolina. Good game here. Carolina's laying 13, though, at home. 156 total. So biggest total that we've had so far on the slate. Love when these teams are on the slate because we know exactly what we're getting, right? We're getting Judah Mintz, JJ Starling from Max Minutes. Mintz's price is down here, Kurt. He's up here. He's down under 8K. He's been mid 8s for a while. It's just tough for me to play a stud on the road with a 68 team total when we want to play other studs on the slate. We don't have that much value. So I think Mintz is interesting. Starling hasn't really done much lately, but his price is really dropping, and he's playing 35 a game. And then on the Carolina side, RJ Davis is playing an All-American at the guard spot, playing every minute. The shot rate's insane. He's been awesome. Baycott had one of his kind of nonchalant games during the week. He's good for that every now and then, but man, Baycott at 8,100 at home with an 82 team total. Got to be interested in that. He's got upside for 45 plus probably here against Syracuse. It's not the Syracuse zone that he's demolished in the past, but still really like his upside. Harrison Ingram had like 19 rebounds the other night. He's just kind of priced close to Davis and Baycott for me. I'd rather just take a stab that Baycott cares about this game and is dialed in at 8K. We've got Elliot Cadeau on the playbook. I think that's more just because we're kind of starved for value. I think Cadeau's a decent play. He's coming off the bench, but he played 33 minutes last game. Like, they've been kind of yo-yoing the minutes between like him, Trimble, Cormac Ryan, guys like that. And then here I don't mind, especially at home, like these like ancillary pieces, Kurt. I actually like playing more when they're at home. What do you think about this game?
I do want to note this feels like the first time these two teams have faced off in probably the last 3 years where I've not devoted a lineup to stacking it. I mean, you're taking 3 or 4 pieces, a lot more condensed. Like, Syracuse is really just the only person who really trusts is Mintz, and before you would have like 3 or 4 options, like very solid options. So that's worth noting. It's kind of sad that I don't want to devote a full stack despite the total, but I do want to get R.J. Davis for Baycott. I mean, one's going to get there. Syracuse is absolute trash. You don't need a run back because I'm not buying into the Malik Brown and Copeland thing, just not at all. Eventually, like Starling, I'm pretty sure the rate. Like, I don't know why the rates are going down. I mean, he was good to us at Notre Dame. He was good to us a little bit earlier in the year, but probably too thin of a play. There's so many good plays there. There's no need to force it. So it's just Baycott or Davis might be a little rule for me in most of my lines. Probably like 4 of my 5 handbills. I want one of those guys.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of value, but man, to seeing Baycott at 8,100, it really gets you excited early on a Saturday morning. Let's go to Vandy, Ole Miss. Ole Miss playing really, really well out of the gate, but still at 71st at KenPom. The computer's not really buying the hot start from Ole Miss. Ole Miss minus 10 here, though, 144.5 total. Kurt, it's going to be tough for me to get to any Vandy pieces here with a 66 team total. I listed Magnon on the playbook at 7K. Since he's come back from injury, he's been good. But like Vandy, the rotations, the minutes are kind of hard to trust. And like, I think he's a reasonable play, but he's probably the only guy that I would even touch on Vandy. We've gone through the entire front court roulette from them the entire season. Don't really want to touch them on a 12-game slate. And then on the Ole Miss side, this team's got, 3 studs, really. They got Flanagan, the transfer from Auburn, has been awesome. His price is down to 8K. We saw him almost 10K a couple weeks ago. Matt Morrell's going to chuck. We know that. He's like a scoring-reliant guard. We have him projected well. I think I prefer Flanagan just because of the certainty with the peripherals. I think the upside's higher. Like if he mixes in a big scoring game with his peripherals, I think Flanagan's a really interesting play at 8K. And then Jalen Murray, the point guard transfer, the little fella at 6'8", coming off a good game. He's really impressed me. I was not expecting this from him this season. I like him too at 6'8". The transfer Brandon Murray from LSU and then Georgetown has been playing off the bench. 4,500 is interesting. Let me check his minutes lately. He bumped up to 23 minutes last game. Like, this is a guy who's got ceiling off the bench. I like Murray. If you're playing multiple lineups here, Kurt, what do you think about this game?
I'm going a little different down low, and I'm taking another Ole Miss guy. I've noticed some disdain with the most Cisse call. I've been mentioned a couple of times. I've not got any response. Got his first start last game, and I happened to be watching it. First possession, I think Matthew Muriel misses a shot. Instant putback for Cisse. I'm like, oh man, that'd be a nice little come out game for him. Immediately gets in foul trouble as soon as I go to bed. So if he starts again today and avoids foul trouble, there's not really a interior presence for Vanderbilt. Like, what's his name's gone? Who's the big white dude? I forgot his name.
Connor Vanderbilt?
No, the thick guy for Vanderbilt. He just shoot threes and shit. But anyway, so they don't really have much of interior presence. So most of these they could easily get 20 points or 20 fantasy points. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's a nice little safety come for 4,700. I think there's upside for more as well if they want to push him and he doesn't foul. Up top, like if you see one of these guys go off, I wouldn't be surprised. No, but there's so many good plays today that I'm just more confident in other people. Maybe if you're an Ole Miss fan, but I don't see a need in like forcing this stuff up top.
Liam Robbins is who you're thinking of, by the way.
Liam Robbins. Oh, God.
Yeah, we played Mo Cisse last slate. He fouled out in 11 minutes. So definitely know that risk there. He's a career fouler, but at 4.7, like he could have 6 blocks, you know. And if he starts again, I do like him. I actually just added him to the playbook here for the Run Pure members. Didn't realize he was still 4.7 after the start. Really like him in tournaments. Let's go to St. John's Creighton. Interesting game here. Creighton's had kind of an up and down season, but still sitting at 13 at Ken Pom. Kurt, I think this team's got as much ceiling as anyone in the country when they're on, right? Like if Creighton's hitting shots, then they can beat anyone. I kind of think they house St. John's in this game. I want to take the -7. I'm hoping that, when we grab breakfast after this, we chat and we bet Creighton -7. We got a 154 total here, though, Kurt. We see Brady Dunlap hasn't been practicing. He's been a budget piece for us lately. I'm not sure he plays here. If he doesn't play, I'm not sure I really like anyone from St. John's on the road at Creighton. We do get the pace up. Well, it's not a pace up, but just like Creighton just plays in high scoring games. Soriano continues to project well. I'm going to hold off on Soriano for now. I think this is kind of like a banana in the tailpipe thing, right? Like he projects well, but with RJ Lewis back, like he's just stealing too many rebounds, and Jenkins is the go-to guy. And I kind of want to, like, I'm in the same spot with Soriano that I'm at with PJ Hall. It's like I need to see it one time again before I pay $8K for these guys on a big slate. Like, would you rather play Soriano or one of the Creighton studs? Like, I'm way more confident that Shireman, Alexander, Kalk get there than Soriano here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough. And the thing is, like, if Dunlap does miss, you have to think Lewis gets like a 4 or 5 minute bump, which just hurts Soriano even more as far because that guy he crashes the glass like a maniac. But man, it's 8K. Like, and if you can get a good lineup where you maybe fade the UNC stuff, and then you play a high price Creighton guy, run it back with Soriano, maybe even throw in RJ Lewis. It's one of the games I am stacking in one of my hand builds, and it's kind of tasty. But I wouldn't play Soriano on a main team or anything. And it's kind of like I'm treating him like I would Kadari Richmond, where if I play him, I'm just going to do a mini stack of the game. I'm a Baylor guy, and I wasn't last year, but I just saw a difference in, like, very early on this year in one of their first games. I saw a different Baylor, and the thing I was like, is he shooting better? No, his like numbers are basically the same, but he's just producing way more as far as maybe his peripherals are.
His peripherals have been crushing.
Yeah, peripherals are just so much better, and maybe that. Oh, probably Kaluma gone.
Yeah,
who was always stealing boards in the random like usage, but his 9.1K. So I think I might go. If I play Soriano, I probably don't want to play Kalk because I feel like they could definitely get each other in foul trouble. So let me run it back with your boy, Mr. Alexander, if I'm playing Soriano.
Yeah, Trey Alexander is just such a steady piece, right? Like, you're getting 30 plus, except for the one game all season I needed him to ship the qualifier is the one game he has like since Thanksgiving under 30 points. So Trey Alexander is my guy. Love him. Probably going to have him on one of my 3 qualifier teams here. All right, let's move on. We're kind of starved for time today. Sorry for starting late. Kentucky at A&M. I think this is the decision point of the slate, Kurt. Ken Palm's got it. Kentucky 79-78. Sportsbooks have it. A&M -3.5. You got to pay through the nose if you're betting A&M. I think this should be close to a pick 'em, Kurt. 155 total. It's tough to bet against Kentucky right now. They just have more athletes than anyone that they're going to play. We've seen them kind of evolve this season. They started out just kind of letting the guys do whatever they want as Cal was figuring out what they wanted to do. And now he's got it kind of dialed in now. I would not bet against Kentucky. It's a terrible situational spot for them, but I'm inclined to kind of take the 3.5 here and just bet on talent because even though Calipari has been criticized for not making the best coaching decisions lately, it's hard for him to fuck this up, right? Like he's got 8 guys who would start on any team in the country. But for DFS, it makes it tough for us. This is kind of how Creighton was last year, right? When they had 6 guys, or like that Baylor championship team where every slate was the same thing. Like everyone's priced up. Anyone can go off, but it's hard to pick who's going to go off. We kind of got a gift the last 2 weeks with Trey Mitchell being 7K, but he's 8,500 now. Like you're clicking Trey Mitchell over Shireman. You're clicking Trey Mitchell over Baycott. It's tough. Like I'm probably not playing any Trey Mitchell here, but they do have an 80 team total. Kurt, any thoughts on Kentucky here? And then we'll talk about A&M afterwards.
I mean, it's just tough. Like if they made these guys 6,700, it still wouldn't be an autoplay, but then we would be more inclined to start playing roulette with it, and you just can't. Like, I mean, you're risking like literally sub 20 fantasy points at 7K. I'm just not trying to do that. So I do have one I like though. It's not a good spot at Texas A&M. They're tough in the paint. It's on the road, but he can stretch the floor a little bit, and the total's high, so I don't mind some Bradshaw. I think, like I told Steve probably like last week, I think he's more of a better real life basketball player than a fantasy player, but that will lead to eventually a fantasy outburst. I think it's going to come. I want to be early on it, so I'm going to take another stab today. And then Texas A&M, my roll, it was one of Wade Taylor, Coleman, or Boots, but it might be two, man. Like Boots and Taylor just, I mean, if they don't foul, they're going to get 30. Like Boots only needs like 24, but like Wade Taylor is going to get 30. And he might go for 50.
I think Wade Taylor might go for like 45.
That's what I'm saying. So like I really want both, and then in the lineup where I'm not playing Boots or something, that I feel like I want Coleman. But we'll see what my final decision was. But just make sure you have one of those three guys. I think it's pretty apparent here. You don't need a run back. And then you want to talk about a little value play here?
Yeah, I mean A&M I think is the decision point of the slate. We've got 4 guys at least that are underpriced. Wade Taylor, the stud at 7.6, going to play almost every minute. Gets the massive pace up here. A&M likes to play slow. Kentucky's 14th in tempo in the country. We've seen Wade Taylor just absolutely decimate slates this season when they're paced up. Stud guard, 7.6. Man, he's been like, 9K for a month now? Now they just dangled a 7.6 at us when they're playing Kentucky. Henry Coleman has sucked balls for 2 straight games, but he's played 31 and 35 minutes in those games. And the game before those 2, he went for 40. So, yeah, he is. I think Coleman's a good play. He's going to play low 30s minutes. We've seen him kind of sit in the 30s in scoring. I think like the game log watchers are going to pass up Henry Coleman here. Also, A&M's got several good plays, so like it's hard to click 3 of them. I definitely want 2. Boots Radford is 5,700. He was a core play, obviously, when he was 4,900 last game. Absolutely smashed that price. Played 34 minutes, went for 32 or so. Definitely playing Boots again here. Ex-Virginia Tech guy. Gotta love Boots. And then at 3.9, Hayden Hefner continues to start and looked really good in the last game against Auburn. He's playing low to mid 20s minutes. Not going to give you a ton, but he also hasn't hit a shot in forever. Kurt, he went 0 for 8 from the field against LSU and still gave you 14.
Look at the pace of this game.
The pace is good. He's going to play mid 20s minutes. I really like Hefner here. I think you just, if you're playing multiple lineups, you just kind of mix and match. You just kind of mix and match. I got to put this comment on the screen. Look at this one, Kurt.
No, that's real life.
Baycott has.
I can't see the comments, so put them on the screen if they're funny. I'm missing out.
Yeah.
I can't see if you guys are saying anything.
Yeah. Baycott has absolutely cucked us lately. What a rat fuck he's been. Yeah, so I think it's 2+ A&M. I wouldn't be mad at you if you played 3 if that includes Hefner, right? Like you played Boots, Hefner, and Taylor, Coleman, Radford, Taylor, Coleman, Radford, Hefner. I think that's all fine. They're implied for 80 points at home here. Love that. All right, we got 4 games left. We're actually kind of pacing well. Look at us. Without Gavin on the show, we don't have all this shot quality bullshit that he talks about now. We do miss Gav. Still waiting for him.
I like that stuff.
I know, me too. I'm just giving him shit because he's not here. We're still waiting for him to wake up. So, we'll see. He is out on the West Coast. Interesting game here, Kurt. I'm excited to watch this one in person. Well, not in person, but on TV later today. Xavier at Providence. Obviously, the huge story. Well, let's go to the sportsbooks first. Providence -3 at home here, Kurt. 142-ish total. Kind of inclined to bet Providence here. I'm not a huge believer in Xavier, especially on the road. You're only given a possession at Providence. We might be betting Providence here. The big news, obviously, Providence is shorthanded. They lost their stud. Bryce Hopkins is out for the season. That sucks. But what that has done is just thrust Devin Carter into Mondo usage. Max minutes. This is like top 10 usage in the country, Devin Carter. We're also not getting 8K Devin Carter anymore. It's 9,600 Carter. We have him projected for 48.6. We've been betting his points prop ever since this injury. It was at 16.5 and then 16.5 again. It's at 18.5 today. I think it's the first thing Kurt did when he got off the plane was bet Devin Carter points over 18.5. If you haven't bet that yet, go ahead and bet it. It's going to take like an injury or fouls for him to not get it. Like if he doesn't hit that point prop, they're losing by 10.
Yeah, and more.
Devin Carter is insane. His peripherals are just so good too. Like I'm pretty sure he's going to get drafted in the first round. I think he's an NBA player.
Who else would? He's tall enough.
Yeah. So obviously Devin Carter, great play. Thoughts on him, and then any other plays here? We saw Garway Duval not start, but play 33 minutes last game. We all played Corey Floyd, and he just fucked us last game. He's dead to us. So Garway Duval at 4.2. He's kind of a defender, but if he's going to be out there the whole game at home, I do like I said before, these ancillary pieces more at home.
He's the freshman, right?
Yeah.
So, I think the offense is – I think their best bet is to, kind of just put him out there. Let his offensive game develop. I love him today because I can't really get to too much here besides Carter. I'm not with the Xavier thing. If I was to play, I want to be McKnight, but I'm not playing that thing. I know Usmani, I put in the playbook. He could literally have 6 blocks and like a double-double and absolutely obliterate. But it's meh. So, the freshman – and then, maybe Pierre, I don't mind. His rates are actually the ones that skyrocketed the most besides Carter since Hopkins has been out. So, don't mind that. You think with the game environment you like a lot more, but they're priced pretty efficiently. So, Adura, there's just no chance in hell I'm paying 8.5. Ticket gains, I'd rather just say $200 and play Pierre. So, give me the kid and then give me Mr. Carter, and that's it from this game.
I kind of like Des Claude here. He's sitting at 7K, hasn't really had a good game in a while. I like Des Claude as a tournament play. He's had some good ceiling this season, hasn't shown it that much lately, but he played 37 minutes against UConn, went for 15, 6, and 5 for 32.5 DK. If he can do that against UConn, he can definitely do that against Providence. I like Claude for the qualifier. Not like a main lineup, but Claude's going to play nearly every minute here. Really, really like him as a player. We were on him early this year. Going to continue to ride him. All right, let's move on. We have an interesting game here. Oklahoma at Kansas. Kansas coming off the fucking awful loss at, UCF this week? You can't lose at UCF. That's embarrassing. We took Kansas last night. I can't wait to see JBC in person today because he's going to bet Kansas -8, and we got Kansas -5 today or last night. So I hope Kansas wins by 6 or 7, just so I can shove it in his face. We got Kansas -7 right now. Total 142.5. Kurt, I think this is a really, really tough spot for Oklahoma. They've played one road game all season. They got blown out in that one road game. It was their last game. It was at TCU on Wednesday. They lost by 9, but they weren't ever in that game. They kind of made a run late. Love that Kansas -5 bet. Kansas coming off the loss, coming back to Fog Allen, Kurt. My only concern with the bet is that Dickinson apparently isn't 100%, which is why he's not in the playbook. I don't really like any plays in this game. I think you can play Owe. We've seen him in the low 7Ks. He's at 6,100 here. I think he's probably my only look. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm absolutely not playing anyone in this game. Hard pass.
Dynamite drop in, Kurt. All right, let's move on. We got to get to breakfast. We're starving here in Chicago. The sun is out. It's not 0 degrees yet. That's going to be tomorrow. So we get UVA at Wake. Wake let us down earlier this week. We had just been betting them every game since Efton Reed showed up. They kind of had a clunker against your boys, Florida State. That was kind of weird. Florida State shot the lights out, though. If I were betting this game, I would take the Wake side, but it's just hard to lay 5 against a team like Virginia who just slows the pace down. But Virginia has just gotten housed on the road this season. Kurt, they played 3 road games. These are the results. At Memphis, 77-54 loss. At Notre Dame, 76-54 loss. They lost by 25 to Notre Dame. At NC State, 76-60. So the 3 road games, they've scored 54, 54, and 60. Tough for me to click a UVA guy here. I will say Beekman's peripherals are good enough that I think that you can play him. Gavin last night told us or wants us to bet Beekman's PRA over 20.5. I think that that's interesting, especially with a massive, massive pace up in Wake. Wake will kind of try to make you run. I think Beekman gets a bunch of steals here. So he's interesting there in the mid-7s. But do you like anyone else here for Virginia? We've got like Rhodey and Buchanan, the big man's at 3.9. I think he's at least playable, especially on a slate without much value. And then on the Wake side, we've played Efton Reed, but he just fucking fouls every game.
Yeah, I don't mind the value for UVA, honestly. Like, Rhodey's playing a shit ton. It's like I mentioned with Dunlap, who it sucks he's not going to play, but like these mid 4K guys, like it's college basketball. If they keep playing 30 minutes, like one day they're going to pop. That's just how it works. Like, you can't just play 30 minutes, 8 games in a row, and not have one game where like no one's covering you and you just make a couple shots. It's just going to happen. So I don't mind that. And then Buchanan, they're going to have to try to match size for size. The big fella is 3.9K. Is he going to foul? Yes, but maybe he can just rack up enough for you. I mean, it's 3.9K, guys. We need 12. Like, if we get 12 and all our shows go off, we're really not mad about it. I prefer to get like 15, 16, which I think is possible if he just keeps his hands to himself. And maybe Reed fouls a shit ton first. I want to talk about early in the season. I only played him, honestly, because I was biased because he's a Marshall guy. But I played Micah Handlocken against this UVA team, and he went off. So same archetype. Efton Reed, shot blocker, rebounder, not the absolute greatest at creating his own shot, but he doesn't really need to. So that archetype has gone off against UVA before. And like Steve said, they suck at home. So I don't think Efton Reed is the worst play. He's below 7K. I'm not afraid to play him, damn it. And I'll do it, maybe.
I'm probably not playing anyone against Virginia on a 12-game slate. Kurt, look, it's sunny but snowing out. Welcome to Chicago. All right, we got one more game here. I'm actually kind of glad they added this game to the slate. It's going to be a tasty one. Gavin loves New Mexico here. We bet him at a pick'em last night. So JBC will have him -4 on the sheet today, I'm sure. San Diego State traveling to New Mexico. I love this New Mexico roster. They've got Jalen House, Don Dent, Mashburn. They got Nelly. I mean, this is a good squad. For DFS though, it's kind of tough because they're kind of like Creighton light, right? Like they've got dudes. You never know who's going to go off each game, but they're not Creighton prices. They're in the 6K range. I think that we can take some stabs here on the New Mexico guys at home. They play at a top 20 tempo in the country. So I think like guys like House, Dent, Mashburn are interesting. And then on the other side, Jaden Ledee, 9K. We've seen him up over 10K this season. He was on a bunch of slates early, right? Like in the non-conference. They're now in conference play. max minutes, absolute max minutes, and the peripherals are insane. Going to cite our good friend Matt Gajewski's data sheet here. Excellent projections over there at Stochastic. Great dude. Jaden Ledee, 25% shot rate, 23% rebound rate, 13% assist rate, playing max minutes. Like when you jam the peripherals like he does with the scoring upside with a 25% shot rate, I think he's an awesome play here. We got a 150-ish total in this game. I love Jaden Ledee here. He fouled in one of the games that he was on a slate earlier. I'm not really that concerned about that. So I love him. And then Reese Waters, the USC transfer, is only 5'4". I like him. And Trammell at 4'2", I think, is in play, Kurt. We've seen Trammell play 28, 29, and then he fouled last game, only played 20. But like if you get high 20s minutes from Trammell in this massive pace up, I think he's an interesting contrarian play. I know I just brought up a ton, but thoughts on this game?
So I got a couple of plays there where my gut just says I think they're going to have a good game. And maybe it's from the past where we've seen it, but Trammell's had some pop games. It's been a while since he's had one. We're starved for value. Why not take a shot and I think they're both going. I think both teams really get up for this game, like more than usual. When I have spots like that, I want the bucket getters. I want the guys who are going to go out and get their bucket. And who is that? That's Trammell. That's Mr. Jamal Mashburn. I think Mashburn gets off today. I get the 6K range is actually kind of loaded. So you get a little bit of late hammer, a low-owned late hammer that I think has just as much upside as the other 6K plays, damn it. Now, does all his have to come from scoring? Yes, but he can do it. And then obviously Ledee in a freaking pace-up spot, he's going for 40. I mean, it's like him or Carter. Like, they're just so safe unless fouls or something happen that I don't mind having. That's why I'm mentioning a bunch of these random values, because I really want to jam in one of those 9K guys, and then also an 8K guy. But that's all. I wouldn't fault anyone for playing Dent or Hal. Dent's raised for like 6.9K in a pace-up game is actually kind of sexy, but I'm just sticking with those three guys, and then I wouldn't talk anyone else off other plays.
Yeah, this is kind of a really nice hammer game here. Yeah. We got a total over 150. We've seen some pretty shit hammer games in the past on these Saturday slates, but I think there's a bunch of plays here: Mash, House, Dent, Ledee, obviously the headliner there, and then Trammell is really interesting, Kurt. At 4.2, like we've seen him 5-6K for most of the season. Coming off that foul game, which kept his price down. I kind of like him. Talking myself into a Trammell qualifier play here, Kurt.
Absolutely.
All right, we got 8 minutes until the NFL show. Off the Chalk, I believe, is today. That's at 10 Central, 11 Eastern. Let me check who's on that show. Holden, AP, and JT are coming up after us. We got 12 games in about 40 minutes. Look at us. We must be hungry. Kurt, I'm going to go to you. I think we should do like a play of the day or like a small core or just like general thoughts on like how you're playing this slate.
So for me, I think I did this all last year, but I did the rules. The rules were my big thing. And so I think it kind of helps with Steve's core. I might go back to that, just doing rules for me and then maybe doing like one guy as a core play. But it's going to be you talk me into doing at least two Texas A&M. Those guys will be Boo Trafford, Wade Taylor, Coleman, Hefner, in that order. I want two of those four. I think that two are definitely going to get there. We just pick the right combo. I think I do want one of the UNC guys, 8K, and then because I mentioned a lot of value you guys can rotate in, and then let's get Devin Carter or Jaden Ledee, and then play 3-4K guys. Who gives a shit? Play Trammell, play freaking Buchanan. If Buchanan gets me 10, those other guys go off. It don't matter. It's enough. So those are my rules for today. Good luck, guys.
Barrick has the worst core play I think I've ever seen in the chat today. Just wait till he posts it. Barrick, post your core in the chat so we can make fun of it.
If I had to give one player though for GPPs, it'd probably be Jamal Mashburn.
Mash is such a great tournament play. Yeah, I think this slate comes down to how you play the Kentucky game. We've got the highest total on the slate. We've got Kentucky with like super volatile pieces that are priced up. I think taking a shot on one of them is interesting in the qualifier. I want at least 2 A&M guys. And then Devin. So the spends are Devin Carter, Ladie, Baycott, I think are the top 3 on this slate. And then don't forget about Dalton Connect. Just stepped right into 36 minutes last game. Healthy.
He missed like I don't know what he shot, but he missed every single shot.
Dalton Connect could go for 40
Until
today.
the last 4 minutes, he was missing everything.
He's going to be in all 3 of my my qualifier lineups. So I think Connect would be my free square. Going to play a bunch of Boots, bunch of Henry Coleman, bunch of Wade Taylor. All right, we're going to get out of here. We went way too long, but we got the Barrick on Q, QUE. What a dipshit. All right.
What was the score?
No. In Discord, you missed it earlier. He said that he was on Q, but he spelled QUE. All right. That's way too much inside info here. If you want to join us, I believe it's promo code New Year for 15% off. Get all our college hoop stuff. We got all sports. We got an MMA card tonight. We're going to be at the sportsbook watching that and the NFL games. We got bets. JBC's in town. Kurt's in town. We're going to have a blast. We'll see you all on Discord. Peace.